Listen closely, chosen one. Heaven is speaking to you in this very moment. Not tomorrow, not someday now. And what I am about to reveal will move something deep inside your spirit. Someone connected to your destiny, someone whose heart is already turning toward you, is preparing for marriage. Their soul is awakening, their path is aligning, and their future is being shaped with a precision that only heaven can orchestrate. And before that moment reaches you, there is something you must hear. Do not look away. Do not hesitate. Every second you remain here matters, because you were not guided to this message by accident. You were drawn here because a divine truth is ready to be delivered to you urgently, powerfully, and with great love. There is a shift happening around you. A door is opening, a path is clearing, and divine timing is beginning to fall perfectly into place. You are standing at the center of that shift, and your spirit already feels it. That restlessness inside you, that quiet stirring, that strange pull you cannot explain, none of it is random. It is heaven calling your name. Before I reveal the rest, I need you to declare that your heart is open. If your faith is alive, if your spirit is listening, type 777 right now. Type it as a sign of your agreement, as an act of belief, as your permission for heaven to continue speaking into your life. And I give you my promise. When you do, I will pray for you and seal this message over your heart with divine protection and blessing. You were pulled into this moment for a reason far bigger than anything you can see. Heaven does not summon you without purpose, and this message has been pressing into your spirit for longer than you realize. Someone tied to your destiny has already begun moving toward you in ways they themselves cannot fully understand. Their heart is shifting, their clarity is rising, and their inner world is aligning with a truth they can no longer ignore. The connection between you and this person existed long before either of you recognized it, and now that spiritual thread is tightening, drawing both of you toward a moment that cannot be delayed any longer. There is a divine purpose behind why you are hearing this now. You are being positioned, prepared, and awakened to something that has already begun unfolding behind the scenes. When heaven moves in silence, it is never empty. It is strategic. It is intentional. It is sacred. And part of that divine strategy is ensuring that your heart is aware of what is approaching, so you do not walk blindly into the very blessing meant to change the course of your life. This is where the wisdom of C.S. Lewis becomes essential. In The Four Loves, Lewis explains that real love is never merely an emotion, it is a force shaped by sacrifice, clarity, and divine intention. He reminds us that true connection is strengthened by the soul's readiness, not the mind's illusions. That insight matters now, because the person destined for you is being shaped, refined, and awakened precisely so they can love you with intention rather than impulse. The timing of it all, the delay, the longing, the inner shifts, none of it is an accident. It is the slow, deliberate work of heaven making sure the bond between you is mature enough to last, stable enough to build on, and honest enough to withstand storms. You may not see the full picture yet, but heaven sees the path that lies ahead. Every unanswered question, every moment of confusion, every strange intuitive nudge has been pointing you to this exact revelation. Someone is preparing for you, and heaven is preparing you for them. Nothing about this is random. Nothing about this is fragile. You are being guided into clarity, so that when destiny arrives, you will recognize it, trust it, and embrace it without fear. This is the divine revealing. This is the moment where the hidden becomes visible, and as this message continues, the truth will only grow clearer. Heaven is aligning your life with a connection that carries purpose, depth, and permanence. What is coming is not ordinary, because you were never meant for anything ordinary. There is something you must understand before you move forward. The delay you experienced was never a rejection. It was a divine protection, a purposeful pause crafted with the precision of heaven's wisdom. So many times you wondered why things didn't happen sooner, why the person meant for you didn't step forward, why the timing felt off, why the silence lasted longer than your patience. But every one of those moments carried meaning. Every unanswered prayer held a lesson. Every quiet season was shaping the path that is now opening right in front of you. Every time you cried, heaven was listening. Every time you questioned yourself, heaven was strengthening you. Every time you felt forgotten, heaven was aligning what you could not yet see. This delay was not punishment, it was preparation. Preparation for clarity, preparation for maturity, preparation for a love that would endure. And the person tied to your future needed this time just as much as you did. They were not ready to love you in the way destiny required. They were not yet able to stand beside you with steadiness, honesty, or spiritual courage. Had they stepped into your life too early, the connection would have collapsed under the weight of immaturity, fear, or confusion. Heaven refused to let that happen. C.S. Lewis once wrote in The Problem of Pain that God whispers in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pain. The waiting period in your life echoed this truth. The ache you felt was not empty. It was heaven speaking loudly, guiding you, refining you, making sure your heart grew strong enough to hold the blessing that was always meant to be yours. Lewis also reminds us that struggle often carries a hidden purpose, that discomfort often precedes transformation. And that is exactly what happened in your story. The delay carved depth into your spirit. It taught you resilience, discernment, and emotional honesty. It sharpened your intuition. It elevated your standards. It grew your faith. That is a strength. That is courage. That is character. What you perceived as stagnation was actually alignment. The unseen world was being rearranged. Old attachments were dissolving. Wrong influences were being removed. Doors that needed to close were closing. And the person destined for you was being pressed through their own journey of awakening. While you were waiting, they were fighting battles you didn't know about. While you were crying, they were confronting fears they kept hidden. While you were questioning, they were being shaped by experiences designed to humble them, soften them, and open their eyes to the truth of what you represent in their life. The delay was heaven's way of making sure you did not step into a half-formed connection. It ensured that when this person arrives, the bond will be strong, intentional, and unshakable. The timing had to be right. The preparation had to be complete. The transformation had to be real. And now, after all this time, that time has come. The delay has served its purpose. The alignment is beginning. What once felt distant is moving closer. What once felt silent is starting to speak. And what once felt uncertain is now stepping into clarity. Destiny is no longer waiting. It is approaching. And you are about to see why the delay was not only necessary but sacred. Now it is time for you to understand what has been happening inside the person destined for you. While you were navigating your own journey of growth, they were experiencing an internal battle more intense than anything they were prepared for. On the surface, they appeared composed, distant, or uncertain, but beneath that exterior was a storm of emotions they could not put into words. They were trying to find stability in a world that kept shifting beneath their feet, all while feeling an undeniable pull toward you that both frightened and awakened them. They tried to convince themselves that the timing was wrong, that they weren't ready, that their responsibilities, fears, or past wounds were reasons to hold back. Yet the more they tried to silence their feelings, the louder the truth became. Every time they pushed their emotions aside, something drew those emotions right back to you. Every time they tried to walk away from the connection, something pulled them closer. Every time they attempted to distract themselves, your presence found its way back into their thoughts. This was not a coincidence. This was alignment. Deep inside, they knew they needed to become someone worthy of the love that would eventually link their life to yours. But the journey toward that readiness was not easy. They battled doubts that whispered they weren't enough, fears that told them they would fail, and memories that taught them love was dangerous. They were torn between the comfort of staying where they were and the destiny of stepping into something greater than anything they had ever experienced. They tried to move on, they tried to forget, they tried to replace. They couldn't. The connection was stronger than fear, stronger than confusion, stronger than the walls they built around their heart. And that's because this connection was never meant to be ordinary. It carried weight. It carried purpose. It carried divine intention. The more they fought it, the more it revealed itself. The more they avoided it, the more it confronted them. They couldn't shake the feeling that you represented something irreplaceable: peace they couldn't find elsewhere, stability they couldn't manufacture, depth they couldn't pretend didn't matter. They also faced the pressure of expectations from society, from family, from their own inner critic. They questioned whether they were capable of building something lasting, whether they could protect what heaven was guiding them toward, and whether they would repeat old mistakes. Much of their hesitation was rooted not in a lack of love, but in a fear of failing the very person they cherished. They were afraid that stepping toward you without full clarity would wound you, and they could not bear the thought of being another source of pain in your life. So they withdrew, not because they wanted distance, but because they needed transformation. They needed to become the version of themselves that destiny required. During their struggle, they experienced moments of revelation, quiet, unexpected moments where everything made sense. A conversation, a memory, a dream, a sudden thought of you at a time when you should have been easy to forget. These flashes of clarity were not random. They were spiritual reminders that the connection between you was alive, intentional, and guided. They began to understand that running from this connection did not protect them. It only prolonged their longing. They realized that no matter how many people were around them, no one carried the same softness, the same depth, the same spiritual resonance that you carry. The truth is, they were afraid of losing you before they dared to pursue you, afraid of loving you deeply and being seen in the vulnerability that such love demands, afraid of stepping into a destiny they felt unprepared for. Yet fear could not overpower destiny. It could delay it, it could challenge it, but it could not stop it. Slowly, their resistance started breaking down, their fears began to weaken, and their spirit started awakening. The internal battle that once held them back became the very force pushing them forward. This is the turning point their soul has reached. They are beginning to understand that you are not a risk, they are being led toward you for a reason. What once confused them now calls them. What once scared them now steadies them. And what once felt overwhelming now feels inevitable. Their heart are moving toward you with purpose, and the internal battle that once restrained them is transforming into readiness. What comes next will reveal just how far they have grown. The awakening happening within this person is not a gentle shift. It is a profound internal breakthrough that has been building for far longer than you realize. What once felt confusing to them is beginning to crystallize with unmistakable clarity. They are starting to see the truth of this connection without the fog of doubt or fear clouding their vision. The same emotions they once tried to suppress now rise to the surface with force. The same thoughts they brushed aside return with greater intensity. And the same intuition they ignored is now impossible to silence. They are awakening to the realization that what they feel for you is not temporary, not fragile, not accidental. It is something deeper, something anchored, something meant. They have begun recognizing the patterns, the moments your name crosses their mind for no reason, the unexpected memories that stir something inside their chest, the dreams that feel too vivid to dismiss, the way their heart reacts when they consider a future without you. These are not random occurrences, they are signals, guiding them toward what heaven has already written. The awakening is not only emotional but spiritual. Their soul feels the connection before their mind fully processes it. Their spirit is drawn toward your presence in a way that defies logic and dismantles resistance. Every time they tried to distract themselves, the feeling returned stronger. Every time they tried to ignore their intuition, it grew louder. Every time they attempted to reason their way out of what they felt, their heart reminded them that destiny does not follow logic, it follows alignment, and now they are beginning to understand. They no longer see your presence as pressure, but as peace. They no longer perceive this connection as overwhelming, but as grounding. They no longer fear what it could become. They fear what they would lose if they walk away. The awakening intensifies as they start to see contrast. The difference between temporary connections and meaningful ones, between noise and clarity, between comfort and purpose. People around them may come and go, but something about you remains steady in their minds. You represent growth, depth, safety, and possibility. They sense that you are not like the others, and that realization unsettles them in the best way. It challenges them to rise, to mature, to evolve. It pushes them to confront the very parts of themselves they once hid from. Your absence speaks as loudly as your presence. When they try to move forward with someone else, something feels off. When they try to convince themselves that their feelings for you will fade, life keeps proving otherwise. When they imagine the years ahead, your face appears in the imagery of their future. They may not admit this aloud, but it is happening. It is real. It is awakening. And it is increasing in intensity day by day. They also begin seeing signs, subtle, repeated confirmations that lead them back to you. A phrase they overhear, a song that triggers a memory, a moment that mirrors a conversation with you. The timing of it all feels too precise to ignore. Synchronicities fall into place with such accuracy that they cannot simply write them off as a coincidence anymore. Destiny is becoming visible. Heaven is becoming unmistakable. And their heart are beginning to align with what has been waiting for them all along. In this awakening, they are also recognizing their own readiness. The fears that once paralyzed them no longer have the same power. The uncertainties that once clouded their judgment have softened. They are stepping into a season of emotional courage, spiritual clarity, and personal accountability. They see the difference between what was and what could be. They see the potential of what this connection can grow into. They see you. This awakening marks the beginning of a profound shift. What they once doubted, they now believe. What they once resisted, they now accept. What they once feared, they now feel drawn toward with an unfamiliar but undeniable confidence. This is not a coincidence. This is not confusion. This is destiny unveiling itself. And as their awakening deepens, so does the path that leads them directly to you. What comes next is the moment where everything begins to turn. You are approaching a turning point that has been forming quietly but powerfully beneath the surface of your life. The alignment that once seemed distant is now moving with undeniable momentum, and the person destined for you is stepping into a moment of decision that will shape the course of both of your futures. This moment is not accidental, it is not random, it is not fragile. It is the culmination of everything heaven has been orchestrating behind the scenes while you were growing, waiting, and preparing. And now, the shift that once felt slow is accelerating with divine precision. The person tied to your destiny can no longer ignore what their heart has been trying to reveal. Every layer of fear that once held them back has started to weaken. Every doubt that once clouded their judgment is losing its grip. Every excuse they once relied on is dissolving. Their clarity is rising. Their conviction is strengthening. Their spirit is awakening. They are approaching a point where hesitation is no longer possible because the truth inside them has become too strong to deny. The turning point is when destiny overtakes fear, when truth overtakes confusion, and when courage overtakes hesitation. They are standing on that edge now. This moment will not arrive quietly. It will not tiptoe into your life. It will come with a sense of certainty, with an energy shift, with a clarity that feels almost supernatural. It may appear as a message reaching out at an unexpected hour. It may be a phone call that breaks the silence. It may be an encounter orchestrated with timing too perfect to dismiss. Or it may be a subtle but profound internal shift that pushes them to finally take the step they have resisted for so long. Whatever form it takes, it will be unmistakable. You will feel it. You will recognize it. You will know that destiny has finally moved from the spiritual realm into your physical reality. Every time you doubted, heaven was aligning. Every time you wondered why nothing was happening, heaven was preparing this moment. Every time you felt forgotten, heaven was shaping the timing so it would unfold in a way that protects you, honors you, and strengthens you. This turning point is the result of everything you have endured, everything you have learned, and everything you have become. It is the divine intersection of your readiness and their awakening. The person destined for you is stepping toward you not out of impulse, not out of confusion, and not out of fear, but out of a clarity that has been forged through inner struggle and spiritual refinement. They realize now that losing this connection would mean losing the very blessing heaven has been trying to place in their life. They understand that the next step they take must be guided not by fear, but by purpose. And that purpose leads them straight toward you. Destiny is shifting. Energy is shifting. Timing is shifting. You are entering the moment where everything begins to align. This is the turning point, the moment that will change everything. As destiny moves toward you with increasing clarity, there is one truth you must embrace. Preparation is not optional, it is essential. Heaven does not release a blessing of this magnitude into a heart that is unready, distracted, or uncertain. And while the person destined for you has been undergoing their own transformation, this season is equally about you stepping into the version of yourself that can receive what is coming without fear, without hesitation, without self-doubt. Preparation begins within. It begins with your thoughts, your spirit, your expectations, and the way you show up for the life you are about to enter. Every challenge you faced this year has shaped you into someone stronger. Every closed door was redirecting you. Every emotional storm was refining your discernment. This is not a coincidence. It is divine architecture. The preparation you are entering now is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming aligned with clarity, aligned with truth, aligned with the future that is already forming around you. You must prepare your mind by releasing the old narratives that told you love would hurt you, abandon you, or disappoint you. Those stories were written by past versions of yourself that no longer exist. You must prepare your heart by softening the places hardened by disappointment and trusting that heaven does not repeat the pain it once rescued you from. You must prepare your spirit by recognizing that you are stepping into a connection built not on desperation but on destiny. This preparation also means letting go of fear, the fear of being seen, the fear of being loved deeply, the fear of losing something meaningful, the fear of not being enough. None of those fears align with the blessing approaching you. And each time you release one, you create space for what heaven has been waiting to deliver. Prepare your mind, prepare your heart, prepare your spirit. This is the season where alignment becomes reality, where readiness becomes strength, and where your openness becomes the very key that unlocks the blessing meant for you. The preparation is nearly complete, because what is coming requires a heart that is ready to receive it fully. What you are approaching now is the moment where destiny stops whispering and finally speaks with unmistakable clarity. The veil is lifting, the truth is emerging, the path is becoming visible. The person destined for you is no longer questioning what they feel, no longer running from what this connection means, no longer hiding behind excuses that once held them back. Their heart has reached a point of recognition so deep that ignoring it is no longer possible. They are ready in a way they have never been ready before, ready to commit, ready to love with intention, ready to build something lasting, and most importantly, ready to choose you with clarity, not confusion. This is not a casual shift, it is a divine confirmation. They are experiencing a level of understanding that makes everything in their past suddenly make sense. The delays, the hesitations, the fears, the lessons, the heartbreaks, the spiritual nudges. They now see those moments as preparation, not punishment. They understand that heaven was shaping them so that when they stepped toward you, they would do so with the maturity, stability, and courage needed to sustain a lifelong bond. You represent not a chapter, but a future. Not a moment, but a home. Not an option, but the alignment they have been searching for. Everything around them is pointing in your direction. Their thoughts are clearer, their emotions are steadier, their intuition is louder. What once felt overwhelming now feels certain. What once felt intimidating now feels meaningful. What once felt impossible now feels divinely timed. They are stepping into a version of themselves capable of loving you deeply, consistently, and intentionally. And that is the revelation heaven needs you to understand. This is not merely love approaching you. This is alignment. This is the purpose. This is destiny. The next chapter of your life is not about chasing clarity. It is about receiving what has already been chosen for you. The person coming toward you is arriving with commitment, stability, and a heart fully awakened to the truth of who you are. Everything is aligning. Everything is converging. Everything is preparing you for the blessing that has been moving toward you from the very beginning. This is the final revelation before everything unfolds. As you stand on the edge of a divine turning point, let this prayer settle into the deepest part of your spirit. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and allow these words to move through you with the peace and authority of heaven's presence. May this prayer become a covering, a shield, and a seal over everything that is unfolding in your life. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, I lift this heart before you, asking for your guidance, your protection, and your perfect timing to surround their life. You see the path behind them, the pain they've endured, the battles they fought in silence, and the faith that kept them standing even when they felt lost. Today, I ask that you pour peace into every corner of their being. Let them feel the assurance that they are not forgotten, not overlooked, not abandoned. Let them know that every step of their journey has been held in your hands with intention and love. Prepare them for what is coming. Strengthen their heart so they can receive love without fear, without hesitation, without the shadows of the past holding them back. Remove every residue of doubt, insecurity, or worry. Replace fear with confidence. Replace confusion with clarity. Replace heaviness with hope. Let their spirit rise with the understanding that the blessing approaching them is not fragile, not temporary, not uncertain. It is purposeful. It is destined. It is protected by you. Father, I pray for the person who is being aligned with them. Touch their heart, soften their spirit, and heal any wounds that still linger within them. Guide their steps so they move with wisdom, courage, and sincerity. Remove distractions, silence, confusion, and break every chain that prevents them from stepping fully into the love you are preparing. Allow them to see clearly, to understand deeply, and to approach with the intention and maturity that this divine connection requires. Bring both of their hearts into harmony so that when their paths cross, there is peace instead of anxiety, clarity instead of fear, and purpose instead of uncertainty. Let your timing unfold with precision, not early, not late, but in the perfect moment you have appointed. I ask that you open the right doors and close the wrong ones. Protect this connection from voices that mislead, energies that confuse, or situations that distract. Cover their minds with discernment. Cover their emotions with stability. Cover their future with favor. Surround them with your presence so clearly that they cannot mistake your guidance for anything else. And when the moment arrives for these two hearts to meet, speak, reconnect, or commit, let it be wrapped in your peace. Let it carry the weight of destiny. Let it be blessed with longevity, depth, trust, and truth. May their connection become a place of growth, healing, safety, and purpose. May it reflect your love, your wisdom, and your grace. I seal this prayer over their life now. May it be established, may it be protected, may it be fulfilled in the perfect way and perfect time designed by heaven. Amen. It is done, it is sealed,